What's up guys, and welcome to another episode of my HLTV Fantasy. If you didn't see my last video, I suggest you check that one out because some pretty big changes were announced to HLTV Fantasy, and I also kind of talked about my return to YouTube and the fact that I'm back on YouTube, I guess, and my thoughts on the changes. So check out that video first, and then we will begin with the first event of the 2023 fall season of HLTV Fantasy. So feels very weird to get back to making these videos. Here are some of the teams and groups for this event. I guess the normal stuff kind of stays the same. Want to pick teams from and players from teams that do well, and players who I expect will do individually well, of course. There's one player I guess I should already point out as the most picked player by far, and there's a good reason. What do you expect Hampus's price is going to be? We have players like Apex at 179, Carrion at 167, Uxi's 165. Like, that's the cheapest player, right? Wrong. Hampus at 153 is by far the cheapest player in this entire event. I would assume so. I didn't actually make sure that that's the case, but I mean, you have to expect that to be the case. Yes, he's so far cheaper than any other player, and honestly, probably a must pick. We're talking about a player who honestly is not bad at all. Like, we're looking at this is like, I guess, why his price is so low. His last event for NIP is what it's based on, and it's one event of 5 maps where he got a pretty bad rating. But you just can't really base your choices based on this. It's a completely different lineup now, first of all. Like, this was with Alexi B, right? Yes. Before that, if we go a bit further down, like, look at how much better he is generally. Like, he was so good in, of course this is like a non-event, the Svenska Cupen, but like, there's some real events where he's done well. He's certainly worth this price. Whatever, we can have that actually on now that there's something. They're apparently giving you like fantasy notifications, so I guess we can approve notifications. But yes, Hampus, I'm not gonna probably go with many NIP players, but I think Hampus is just a must pick. Let's go through the groups and teams first. So I would say Group A looks pretty easy for Vitality, generally speaking. E.g., it's always hard, right? When we are in this kind of position where these teams have made changes. Like, a lot of these, every single one of these teams has made changes. Vitality bringing in Flame Z. E.g. has now got some of the E.g. Black members, except for Automatic. So what do I expect of this? I would say Vitality has to be the big favorite in this one. E.g. could pull off the upset, who knows? But yeah, I'm favoring Vitality. And NIP and Call, so NIP benching Alexi B, who got then bought by Navi, and then Hampus coming in. Complexity with Elige coming in instead of Fang. I think it is pretty close. I think NIP is probably the favorite, but not by much. For this group, if I'm gonna go with this group, I'm gonna go for Vitality, depending on player prices and such. Group B, looking pretty tough actually, pretty interesting group. Heroic are the favorites. Big, interestingly, so there's like Mantu, who I actually accidentally saw his price here. So Mantu is an AWPer at 178k. He was actually a pretty good player for OG when he played. Is that when he last played? Yeah, these are some of the last events that he's played. Of course, it's been a long break, but I think he has the potential. So if I want to go for a cheap player, Mantu is definitely on my radar. He's an AWPer. Um, 178 is such a cheap price that I would say that there's a certain, like there's a good chance that Mantu could get a number of points. But of course, it's tough matchups. Like that's the problem here, mostly for big. Like there's a matchup between Heroic and them, which I would expect Heroic to win. These are events that are like preseason. Some of the teams have already kind of announced, or I've had rumors at least, where they kind of think of this as a practice event, trying to get into the groove of things. So big upsets can happen. A team like Big could win against Heroic, certainly. I'm not sure about Sin or Process, but like Crimbo and Tapson, I think, are proven players. Mantu is a proven player to me, just coming back into CS, I suppose. Sin and Process coming from Academy, we'll see what happens. Navi, it's a tantalizing opportunity. As an LXCB fan, I would hope this works. I think in the long run it is. How well is it gonna work this event? I probably won't pick Navi. I would hope for them to do well, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see. Astralis bringing in Borup and Stair. So Stair actually coming in now. I like that instead of in like half a year or whenever it was originally planned to happen. They actually have a decent lineup now. We'll see about them. I think from this group, I'm thinking of Mantu. Heroic are the favorites. You could go for Heroic if you want to. Apart from that, tough to choose. You could go of course like Simple. If you just believe in Simple's raw power, like 214 for him, it's not a bad price at all. So it could be a simple lineup as well. Group C, so we have FaZe, OG, G2, Liquid. G2 not looking to Mudu. I mean, any changes this transfer window? Liquid, of course, going European with the additions of Rain, Waker, and Patsy. Is it going to work out? Super hard to tell. It could work in the long run, especially, but I am hesitant to pick them. Like Patsy at 186 is not a bad idea, possibly. How does he have such a low rating? Is it like, I guess he's just played a couple events that don't really matter. Like this is also a thing where like the player prices, I have to actually scour through player prices. Like we could certainly go for something, like all of these players, you could go for you. There at 202 is probably gonna get good amount. Like Elise is gonna have maybe a better role as well. Like he could do well in complexity. Mantu certainly an idea. Simple at 214, and we have like money for Saiwu with this. Of course, we could go Flame Z with Vitality, completely different thing. There's a lot of options here. The only thing I am gonna go for 100% is Hampus at this stage. FaZe, same as before. OG bringing in Regali, Keto, and Fasher. I don't have any idea why this would work. I don't see it working very well. FaZe is of course FaZe. FaZe could definitely have a good event here. It's so hard to say with these start of season events. I'm just gonna have to go with players who are too cheap, like undercosted. I think Campus, and then I suppose like proven quality players. One thing I can also do is compare to. I don't want to close this one, but like Blast, Premier, Fall. No way, actually spring groups, right? The last spring groups. What kinds of teams did well? Like exactly like this, right? Heroic losing to EG. Now it's Vitality EG. Heroic Big. Vitality came in pretty well drilled. Like this is something that gives me faith, and FaZe 2-0'd through the thing. Like these are things where I could see this as a good idea because of this. I think this doesn't really matter. But like a phase and vitality could still now, because of them having proven that they are coming into these pretty hot. Like I think vitality is a team that I could see coming in super hot into this. So it could be like a Zaibu Flame Z, for example. I think Flames is a possible pick here. I think Zaibu is honestly completely possible. Let's see, who are the most picked players? So like Hampus Simple, yeah, Hampus has to be the most picked player. I can update this to get some more data. But yeah, Simple, Flamesy Bit, Apex. I probably will stray away from Flamesy because I don't know what kind of roles he's gonna play. He could have worse roles than he did at OG, and that could be taking some time to adjust. Zaibu is actually among the most picked players alongside Flamesy, Apex. I'm kind of thinking of like a Sphinx in here. If you look at the spring groups, who were some of the best players? Like Nico had an insane. I remember this actually. Nico had an incredible event. Zaibu was super good. How expensive is someone like Nico now? I should just go through all the prices. 80 at 212. Okay, yeah. So expected heroic are kind of highly costed. I'm probably not going heroic here, just to because I don't know if team strength is as big of a contributing factor to me in this kind of event. At the start of the season, I'm more interested in individuals that I know can pop off, individuals that are, I think, under or overcosted rather. There's also a lot of games to be played. Like winning or losing doesn't matter as much, I think, in this kind of event, because teams are gonna, I mean, they're gonna get to the group final, they're gonna play some games, but the most important point is to have players and individuals who are good. Someone like Patsy, for example. The problem with Liquid to me, I don't know how this is gonna work. They have both Yakindar and Patsy, who are kind of the entry fragging role-ish players, like entry-ish players. Could work very well. I just don't know. I don't know what to do with that really. An IP apart from Humbush, I think is still kind of overcosted. Like I don't think an IP is gonna do this well. Let's see. Device is just super good. He's been so consistent. He's just a good player I would like to have in my lineup. I wouldn't go for EG here. Mantu is honestly an option. Like Mantu and Hampus give you so much cash to play with as well. So you get a Zaiwu and probably another premium option. Topsen at 189 isn't too bad, or Crimbo. If I want to go for more big players, I think I'm going double Vitality here for sure. They also have like the easiest group. Like Heroic could, like Astralis, I think. I would say all of these three teams are better than EG and IP Complexity, possibly. Maybe EG is worse than, or maybe NIP is better than like a big, or Complexity is better than big. Apart from that, I would say I rate Astralis quite highly now. And this is like OG, I don't know what the hell they're doing. They have pieces that could work. But yeah, Chi2, Liquid Face, it's a tough group. I'm gonna go for double Vitality and then 3 individuals that I think are either just not costed correctly. I wouldn't go for another group A player then. So no EG, Nip, Paul. I mean, I guess I have already got Humbles, but that's an exception. So I should have the last individual from one of the other groups. Depending on who that is. So Navi, we could go for simple here. And then how much do I still have? 203. Doesn't quite work with the money. I do like Mantu here. So if I want some like Sphinx, as my second player for Vitality. I have 192 in the bank, who are like some of the best players available at that price point. So yeah, that's Group A, doesn't work. You could go Bit for 192. Bit could be one of those individual players who pops off. I just have a bit of a fear of there's a certain possibility that he's gonna struggle, especially at the start when comms go into English. Like Ima and JL, I would expect, and Alexi B and Simple. I think everyone else. I think Bit's actually kind of a bait player at this price. I don't think he's gonna do especially well. So I don't think it's Spinks. Then maybe it is like a Magisk. I would maybe rather go Magisk than Flamesy because he's a proven quantity in Vitality. I don't have anything against Flamesy. I think he's gonna be a really good option for them. Is Flamesy, but he's picked a lot. Like there's a couple of problems. He's picked a lot. We don't know what kinds of roles he's gonna play for Vitality, how well he's gonna adapt to those roles. Then again, he could be the kind of player that really adapts quite quickly as well. I'll have this guy in our Magic skin for now with 207 grand max. I'm just trying to see if there's some other like banger options, I suppose. Also, teams that haven't made as many changes could be a good idea. Like teams that haven't completely reworked themselves. Apart from like these players, just like the pricing just doesn't make sense on some of these players. I think Patsy is another one though of these players whose price just doesn't make sense. Like this is not a bad lineup, even though it leaves like 6 grand in the bank. Because Patsy could easily be worth closer to 192. Manto could easily be worth more than this. 184. We're leaving a lot of money in the bank with this, but I don't even know if that's as big of a problem as someone might think. But again, who are some options? Like I could go for just a kind of safe, quote unquote safe heroic player here. But heroic doesn't have an easy. They have an easier group. If you go like Apex, we get 238. This is not simple money still. Like that's a problem. Is Liquid so Liquid play in this group? Problem is Liquid, I guess he's gonna like Patsy. I think Patsy is maybe not the option though. Just because this group is actually super tough. G2 and FaZe in this group. If it was just one of these FaZe and G2 and a weaker opponent as the last opponent, I would maybe go for that. Go for Patsy here and then 6k left over. Also, I think people are underestimating. They are not respecting Manto with these picks right now. Also, maybe just haven't really even thought about it as much. You could go. I don't want to go for this group at all. I don't think this is just too difficult of a group to predict. Maybe you could go for a FaZe or G2 option. The winning, whoever gets to play OG. I guess FaZe gets to play OG, but. I would love to have Simple here, because Simple at 214, I think Alexi might just kind of let him loose. The problem is these, I do want Saivu, I think. How expensive are some of the premium FaZe options? 218, 210 for twists. Astralis I would not go for, except for maybe Device or Blamaf, but that's also risky. Topson at 189. No, I don't think so. I mean, they are again like going against Big and then Navi or Astralis. It could easily be an O2. The only reason I'm going for them at all is because Mantu is so undercosted. It allows me to go for some really good options elsewhere. I think the option is just to go for the role that fits Tesses or Shush the most here. So like Zaiwu might be like star player, and then Mantu op. Do I go Flames or Flames as entry? I wonder if he's gonna be entering a lot on the side. Probably for Vitality, I would assume so. Probably entry Fragger on Flames, and then the support was nerfed. Headshots was also nerfed. So kind of it does kind of hurt these players, these changes in roles that are more all-around players. Like Tessis and Shush, for example, are more all-around players. Stavn is like a star for them, the CT rating guy. Jubby is headshots, he entries. Kadian, of course, AWPing and IGLing. But Tessis and Shush are kind of these like, yeah, they are supportive elements, but then again, everyone is kind of a supportive element as well. So I think these players are weaker now due to this, because they don't have any, like, you can't go Tessis headshots and have like a decent amount of points every time. You can't go Shush support. Rain headshots could be an idea here. Was there someone at 207? Like a head trick isn't a bad shout. The problem is, again, it's the same group. I can't have everyone from this group. I already have 3 players from this group with Vitality. Like 2 Vitality players and Hampus. Yeah, Cole is also here. I was thinking of like Elish, but it's hard to pick this last one, but I don't want to change my lineup, so I'm trying to be as careful as I can with this. With this lineup. Regalia 207. It's so tough, this group. I didn't know this was a thing. It's pretty cool. I do want to be from this group, and it's gotta be heroic. I want to go for one of these safe heroic players in Shush or Tessis. I guess Tessis makes more sense. He's got higher support or headshot. I can always come back, or entry even. Let's see what the roles would look like for this. So I think this is just main AWP every time. I think Big are going to facilitate Mantu AWPing quite a lot. Stat Hunter looks pretty damn juicy on Zaiwu now. Where are we on some of the others? So they have kind of changed. So look, yeah, Stat Hunter is now just better on Zaiwu, at least based on recent data. Where's Attacker? Yeah. Just kind of looking at these is pretty fun here now. Multi-fragger might just be better though. Yeah, Multi-fragger is just a better role for Zaiwu currently than Stat Hunter still. But there's certainly, maybe you go double star player in some of these situations, and then it's better to go for the other things. What about IGL now? Where's IGL? Here's IGL. Yeah, this looks way worse than it used to. That's for sure. It might still be better than some of the other roles. I think this is like a possible 2-0-2-0 situation, double 2-0 situation for Vitality. Campos. What do I like for Hampus? He's the kind of guy to go eco-friendly. It's hard to say based on these, right? I wouldn't go for this. I'm just gonna go, like, I wouldn't go support, I don't think. Not attacker, not IGL. Not stat hunter. It could kind of be entry, but probably not. Camper, don't think so. Defender, no. Headshots, no. Noob, I don't think so. And eco-friendly, I think we are gonna try this role. It's a risky role to go for because I have no clue. But Hampus I can see being the kind of player to make plays with these SMGs. Let's check out Tess's first. So exactly what I'm kind of thinking. So like he's decent at this, he's decent at this, he's decent at this, but not really good at any of them. Even leader, not looking the juiciest. I do think Heroic is gonna win their group. It's a question of, do I want to go IGL on Magisk or Tessus? I'm sorry that this episode is kind of dragging on, but I'm just having a real think about every option, I think. Have to think about the 2-0 potential as well, though. Now, I do think Vitality have great double 2-0 potential. I think I'm gonna go Magisk as IGL. And then, what is the best role? Like you can see, this is no easy task. Entries a bit better. Entry and support are very similar. These role changes are making it difficult. Like there's what am I even, like a player like Tessus, what the hell am I even supposed to do? Oh right, eco-friendly actually does have some stats. I do want to check these stats. Yeah. Most players don't really have eco-friendly as a great option. I do think Hampus is the kind of player who could make use of it. Like just because these other roles have now kind of gone into a weird position. I wouldn't want to go for this new noob role on Hampus. I don't think it's that difficult of a group for NIP. Like they definitely could put up a fight against like Call and EG. I think I'm gonna go for that. And then entry or support, I suppose. There's just, I'll actually, I can edit lineup. I can check out if Shush has maybe someone better or a better role. So these are better roles, right? That Hunter Shush is actually better than I could even go multi-fragger Shush. He's just better than Stat Hunter here, and then oh, it's just better to go Stat Hunter Shush then. Stat Hunter Shush is a weird thought. Doesn't really make sense, Stat Hunter Shush, but it's better than any role for Tessas. Let's go with this. I mean, I just think we are kind of taking the best out of the cheap options in Mantu and Hampus, who I expect it's a risk, of course. It's always a bit of a risk in these events, but this is an event where I don't know what's gonna happen. I have no clue. honestly, like, anything could happen. EG could beat Vitality, Big could beat Heroic, OG could beat FaZe. All of this can happen, and it's not even that unlikely. So going with these super cheap, good individuals is sensible to me. Someone like Zaibu having a super bad event seems almost impossible to me. Magisk is a decent option. Shush is a decent option. Do I have money? Wait, why do I have Magisk? Okay, now I need to actually... I thought I had Flame Z. I do want to have Flame Z here as an entry fragger. I suppose entry fragger, I'm gonna make sure. I almost did this the wrong way. Yeah, I'm gonna go entry fragger here, and then I can go IGLU. Okay, that's just better than Stat Hunter. Shush. Okay. Yeah, this is better. This works better, especially role-wise. Magisk is another player who's like goes into this category of just an overall good player. So I think this is just what fantasy is gonna be a bit more like, where you want to have these specialized players who are specialized in certain things, a bit more. But yeah, okay. Roles, I mean boosters. Skip ahead to the end if you don't want to look at me theorize about boosters. This could take a while again, but let's see. We shouldn't really be looking. I mean, so this is a new booster to think about. Bet on the player to do well and double their role points. Double role points. So what is the most common role to trigger? I would say Zaiwu probably more than Mantu. I don't want to take the punt just because this is a changed main op role. Multi-fragger against EG. I suppose so. Let's do this. Let's hope for the best. It's a weird one because yeah, any player in Vitality could pop off in this event or this matchup if we're expecting EG to do super well. But I'm gonna go Zaiwu. It's also best of 3, so doesn't really. I believe it's a best of 3. Yeah, it's all best of 3. What are the other boosters? We have the farmer booster. So like, where do we want to be? I have to change my thinking about these boosters, but farmer booster we want to use when we expect the team to kind of be doing a lot of eco, like having to struggle with their economy. So if they're struggling with their economy, we expect, so it has to be a tight game, is what I'm thinking here. NIP complexity is actually a pretty tight game, and we have eco-friendly Hampus, so it only makes sense to go for this farmer booster here. Cannon fodder is another one where probably Hampus, right? Yeah, out of these players, definitely Hampus are cannon fodder eventually. Maybe for a more difficult event, difficult matchup. Yeah. A carry. I mean, Zaibu's gonna be carrying for sure. Maybe doesn't need a carry here. A KST still is a role that I really like against these. Maybe actually carry might be, I mean, KST is probably better here. And then feeling 22 I'll use later on when it's a more difficult matchup where Zaibu needs to multi-frag more. I suppose so. This is just a booster that we can use whenever. Except we should check, like, we should think about evil geniuses. What kinds of headshot players do they have? Do they have players who only shoot heads? Text is not really that headshot heavy. Okay, they don't really have any headshot players. So we can use this. What would be a good role for Shush and Mantu? Mantu doesn't have enough data for anything. We're just gonna have to think for ourselves, I suppose, for that one. Yeah, so Shush pretty good at this. Versus Big. I think I want to have it for a tougher matchup. This makes sense. Shush grenade kill. Getting one grenade kill, you can see how much that already affects the percentages. Like, becomes so much more probable to happen. I like that. And I mean, flash assists from Hoppers just makes sense. I'll have this here. Makes sense to me. It's not like I expect this to always happen, but 4 flash assists on a map for an AWPer, we can hope that to happen. For that to happen, we could also use like some of these worse boosters that we just don't see happening. But I'll use flash for now. I need to take a sip of water. Actually, I have a water bottle, good. But yeah, feels weird to talk so much again after a long break from making videos. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this kind of specially long video, almost like it's over half an hour long. But yeah, I don't want to keep you too long. It's very nice to be back. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.